Tim Houston is the Premier of Nova Scotia, and he is in Halifax. Premier, thank you very much for joining us here on Power and Politics. And I want to start with what you've released. I'll call it a wish list. You may use a different term in terms of what you're asking of the federal parties. So one thing that we're hearing from the Conservative leader, Aaron O'Toole, is that if he forms government, he intends to cancel the childcare agreements that have been secured between the Liberal government and 8 provinces and territories, including your own. Does that worry you?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. Happy to be back. But look, childcare is an important issue for Nova Scotians for sure. The cost of childcare is on the minds of Nova Scotian families. So we're looking to make sure that we have a partner in the federal government. We have a federal government that understands the pressure on families, the pressure on Nova Scotian families. So look, what I've said is there's a deal in place. It was signed by a former premier here in Nova Scotia on behalf of Nova Scotians. Any changes to that, I'd be looking to improve the situation. Certainly, I don't want to go backwards. I'd like to go forward in supporting Nova Scotian families. So,
would a tax credit be going backwards?
It's hard to say, really. I mean, I can't. I've heard conflicting stories. So I think where the position that I'm at and the position I wanted to put forward to the national government is there's a deal in place. If there's a discussion around the arrangement, then I'll be pushing to improve the arrangement, not take it backwards. So we'd actually look at what's on the table whenever there's a proposed change on the table, and we'd be comparing the two. But I have no appetite in going backwards on from what the deal is that's signed already, and that's kind of the genesis of the letter we put forward we put the letter out to all leaders. And we basically wanted to put the stake in the ground that these are the things that matter to Nova Scotians. These are the things that matter to me as the Premier of the province. And when we sit down with our partner in Ottawa, whoever that may be, these are the things we want to talk about. Childcare is front and center, but of course, healthcare for sure.
And healthcare is certainly the defining issue in your own very recent election. I think you probably have a good sense of the pulse of what's going on in the province. What do you think childcare on the federal stage will mean to the electorate in Nova Scotia?
Well, I think it's an issue. I mean, these things are all, but certainly in our campaign that we just had, our provincial campaign, healthcare was our focus. My focus was the focus of the PC party, and it was the focus of Nova Scotians. And I think it was a big determinant in the outcome of the election. I'm very proud to be the premier of a majority government in this province, and that is because the issue that we were talking about, which was predominantly healthcare, it resonated with Nova Scotians. They want better access to healthcare. They want better access to addictions and mental health care. They want to make sure our seniors can age with dignity in this province. So those were the focus. Childcare for sure is right in there because it's supporting families, and all of those things are about supporting families. So when Nova Scotians go to vote, go to the polls federally, will they be thinking about childcare? Yes, they will. Will they be thinking about healthcare? For certain. And that's kind of the message I wanted to send to the federal leaders is these are the issues that are on the minds of Nova Scotians. Mm-hmm. These are the issues that I, as Premier of the province, will be looking to partner with the national government on.
I want to talk to you about healthcare. As I was saying, and as you're saying, very clearly the dominating issue in your own provincial campaign. So I look at sort of the two different approaches between the two parties on the federal stage who are most likely to form government. The Conservatives promising to increase the annual rise in health transfers from 3% to a minimum of 6%. That would mean $60 billion over the next 10 years. But the parliamentary budget officer saying, well, that boost would only amount to $3.6 billion new spending between now and 2025. In other words, most of that money is back-ended at the back end of the decade. That good enough for you?
Well, our problem with access to healthcare in this province is it's not far away. It's not years away. It's here right now. We definitely, and I was very upfront with Nova Scotians about the investment that our government is prepared to make in healthcare, and that starts right now. So those are the discussions. And again, this is the message that we want the federal leaders to receive. We want them to feel a sense of urgency to support the provinces, to support Nova Scotia in funding adequate access to healthcare. And that has to start right now. I feel an urgency. And, I was sworn in just a week ago, but already we are very active on the healthcare file and many others, but certainly very active on the healthcare file. And I want the the federal government, whoever that may be, whoever our prime minister is, to feel a sense of urgency. And because I feel it, and Nova Scotians feel it, and I think Canadians feel it as well.
You know, obviously the Liberals have released their own plan on what they would do around healthcare funding. They've promised to invest $10 billion immediately to support the elimination of health system wait lists. But they also have a record of governments over the past, 5+ years, 6 years. Are you satisfied that the Liberals have got the urgency that you're speaking about?
Can always do better, and so whatever urgency they may feel, I want them to feel more, because I feel it. So I mean that's the reality. Is I've sat, I was in opposition for 2 terms here in Nova Scotia, so I've saw things from that point of view. I've listened to Nova Scotians. I've seen the struggles with access to healthcare. So have they been building over time? Yeah, they're building over time. But right now we're just at a point where, as a new premier with a new government, maybe a renewed sense of energy, but I am very, very focused on improving the access to healthcare for Nova Scotians. And whatever happened yesterday, but it's tomorrow that I'm really focused on. So again, whoever that prime minister is, I will be coming to see you. You will have a willing partner in Nova Scotia when it comes to supporting access to healthcare. That's going to mean more funding. We can talk about that, but it's definitely going to mean it has to start right now.
You waiting till election day to vote, or you're going to take advantage of the weekend's advance polls?
I'm kind of an election day voter for sure. So I'll be watching between now and then. I'll be looking for, maybe we'll get a response to our letter from some of the leaders, and we'll assess that and evaluate that. But I'm very, very focused on Nova Scotia and the issues that are facing Nova Scotians. That's what they've asked me to focus on. And whoever it is in Ottawa, let's get to work right away on addressing those challenges that exist right now.
Premier, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.